So you look out at the world, and you see everyone trusting the powers that be. You see everyone thinking whatever the politicians tell them to think, and fearing whatever government tells them to fear, and doing whatever authority tells them to do. And so you feel alone in a world of unthinking, compliant sheep. But in reality, you're not alone, and everyone does not trust and obey the state. Those in power want you to think that they do, and tell you that they do, because they're trying to make it become a self-fulfilling prophecy. You see, if they can convince you that you are truly isolated and alone, that you are the only one who sees through their crap, then of course you won't speak out or act out. And if they can make the person next to you feel the same, then he won't speak out or act out either, and so on. They know that the best way to stop any resistance to their agenda is to make each individual, including you, believe that resistance is futile. And if you think that no one else sees through their facade, no one else has a problem with this dictatorial insanity, and no one else has the brains or the spine to think for themselves and disobey these parasites, then of course you will feel like you are all alone, and you will think that resistance is futile. But it's not, and you're not alone. The media would have you believe that everyone around you admires, respects, and happily obeys our honorable representatives in government, but that is a lie. Real people in the real world know that politicians left and right are all lying, corrupt crooks. And if you watch Hollywood, you would think that brave and noble law enforcers are constantly putting themselves in harm's way to protect us from all the scary criminals and terrorists of the world. That lie is all over the place. And you might think that everyone around you believes it. But they don't. Real people in the real world know what the cops really are, and know that the badge wearers protect and serve the ruling class, not you and not me. In the movies, these brave public servants always save the day. In real life, they are nothing more than professional predators, always looking for some excuse to detain, question, ticket, fine, or arrest someone. Those who pay any attention to reality know this. No, you're not the only one. The media talking heads, the politicians, and their mindless, soulless enforcers love to tell you how all the good people, all the smart people, all the decent people are proud to be obedient, compliant, law-abiding taxpayers. Bullshit. Deep down, you know that the machine of politics is not the source of peace, order, and civilization in the world. It's the bane of humanity. And if you want to be on the side of freedom and justice, you must be against political power, all political power, of any flavor, any size, any party. Some good news is that for all the things that the political parasites want you to be scared of, so they can use your fear to grab more power and control for themselves, most Americans are still smart enough that the thing they fear most is their own damn government. But you'd never know that from watching the news or watching movies. if you ingest the bullshit they crank out, you would think that the entire population just can't wait to shake the hands of a congressman or a president and kiss the ass of law enforcement. They are trying to fabricate a reality and make you believe it.
You can stick your poison vaccine up your arm. You can stick your poison vaccine up your arm. You can stick your poison vaccine. Stick your poison vaccine. Stick your poison vaccine up your arm.
To keep you docile and passive and obedient and scared. They want you thinking and acting like weak, stupid children, always looking to authority to take care of you and to handle everything. They are perfectly happy to have you bickering over which political crook should rule you. What they really fear is not protests and complaints. What they really fear is that a day will come when you realize that their circus, their puppet show, is all bullshit, start to finish, and that none of them have ever had the right to control you, to steal the fruits of your labor, or to tell you what you can and can't do. Nor do they have the ability to do such things unless you give it to them. The only power they have over people is whatever power the people imagine them to have. The victims of every authoritarian regime vastly outnumber their oppressors. And yet the people usually go along with injustice because each one of that vast throng thinks that he would be alone if he disobeyed and resisted, if he stood up against what he knows to be wrong. And that is why they need you to feel weak and alone. They need you and me and all of us to be blind to the power that we really have if he stood up against what he knows to be wrong. And that is why they need you to feel weak and alone. They need you and me and all of us to be blind to the power that we really have. They need you thinking that you need their permission to have a few shreds of freedom. They want you voting and petitioning and begging and groveling to them, either for scraps of control over your own life or for scraps of whatever free handouts they try to use to buy your loyalty, support, and obedience. And yeah, there are definitely a lot of people who have been thoroughly indoctrinated and trained like dogs to be pathetic, obedient bootlickers and slaves, but it is not all of us. It is nowhere near all of us. Although you would never know that watching the mainstream bullshit they feed you day after day. The spirit of rebellion is strong and growing every day, not just in some fringe corners, but in the general population of this country. Americans in droves are now remembering what freedom tastes like, and they know that this isn't it. And it does not take everyone waking up to end the grip of the control freaks. Even a significant minority of the people can disobey out of existence any authoritarian power. But what usually happens instead is that when each of us is made to feel alone and powerless, none of us wants to be the first to say no. To say no to the bastards who continually rob you blind while enriching themselves and their buddies. To say no to the cowardly jackboots who expect us all to grovel and bow before them. To say no to the opportunistic crooks who infest government at all levels, in all locations, and who think that they can forever live an easy life at your expense. They want you to feel hopeless and powerless, and if the political parasites make things so hard for the average decent people to get by, if all of their taxes and regulations and decrees and restrictions screw up your life badly enough, they would much rather you become suicidal than become rebellious. Don't let those evil pieces of shit destroy you, wear you down, and make you give up. Don't be the dog that gets beaten and abused until he cowers, whimpering in terror in the corner, begging for handouts from his master. Be the dog that gets tired of that shit and rips his abuser's goddamn throat out. Their power is entirely an illusion, but if you believe in it, and everyone around you believes in it, it becomes real. If we can all be convinced that it is legitimate and necessary that we all be ruled by these crooks, if we can be duped into feeling some moral obligation to obey them, to bow to them, then we are volunteering to be their slaves. They want you resenting anyone who has more than you and having contempt for anyone who has less than you. They want you distrusting anyone who is a different color than you, of a different religion, from a different country. They need us divided. They need us to fear and hate each other so they can cash in on that, so our fear can provide them with a source of power. Well, fuck that. I don't care what you look like, where you come from, what language you speak, who you worship, if anyone, who you love, if anyone, or any of that. I only care whether you are willing to let me and others be free. And if so, then you are my ally. And even knowing nothing more about you, I will defend your freedom as well as my own. And I won't let political manipulations and deceptions ever make me view you as my enemy. I know who my enemies are. They are those who want to rule me and rule you and rule everyone else. If you're not one of those people, then I want nothing but freedom, happiness, and prosperity for you and yours. I own myself. I don't even know you, but I am here to tell you, you own yourself too. I want you to use your conscience, your moral code, your heart, and your mind to choose your path, to make your decisions, to run your life. I don't want you paying tribute to these corrupt political assholes and bowing to whatever arbitrary bullshit they want to call law. So tell me, do I trust you more than you trust yourself? I would rather you ignore the damn ruling class and do what you think is right. I think you were born to be free, to be in charge of your own life. They think you were born to be their subject, their livestock. Now, of course, you may fear them, and for good reason. No doubt you've seen what some of their violent hired guns are capable of. Sadistic thugs wearing the label of law enforcement. But like all bullies, these insecure little fascist bastards run for cover the moment their intended victims decide to fight back. They only have power if we all cower. The question is, if you decide to stand up to them, who will fight alongside you? And who will continue to grovel and beg their abusers for mercy? Before you know whether disobedience and resistance would even accomplish anything other than your own martyrdom, you need to know how many others like you are there. How many others see through this crap? How many others have had enough of this bullshit? Ask yourself that, and let your own eyes and ears, not the propaganda on the TV, answer the question. You may have heard the saying, the revolution will not be televised. Those in power and the talking heads they control will never let you know the power that you have, that we have. They will never let you know how easily and quickly the people can end authoritarian bullshit, not by voting or by begging, but by disobeying and resisting. But again, maybe you don't dare to yet because you think that if you do, you might be the only one. And that's understandable. So for now, I ask only one thing of you. I ask you to do a test of sorts. When you are out and about living your life, among friends, among strangers, make it a point to say what you think, even if it's uncomfortable. Even if you expect criticism and disagreement. If you know that government is the problem, not the solution, say so. If you know that none of the politicians deserve our trust or our respect, say so. If you believe that doing the right thing sometimes means breaking the law and disobeying those in power, say so. Say it and watch who agrees. That will tell you who is a well-trained slave and who are the ones ready to break their chains and make things better. And you may be surprised by just how many of those there already are all around you. They weren't speaking up before for the same reason that you weren't speaking up before. They thought they were alone. So try it. Find the allies that you didn't know you had. Say it. I own myself. You own yourself. Fuck the government. Say it. I own my life. You own your life. Fuck the politicians. Say it. I own the fruits of my labor. You own the fruits of your labor. Fuck the tax collectors. Say it. I will govern myself. You govern yourself. Fuck the police. You are meant to be a free human being, beholden to no one, the political plaything of no one, with no ruler and no master above your own mind and your own conscience. Hear it, think it, own it, spread it, and watch what happens.
I said, we're going to war with Iraq. Why? He said, I don't know. He said, I guess they don't know what else to do.